This week, I redesigned dragons for my Smoke Magic world building project. Dragons in the world of Kiyln are not so massive and fantastical as they are often depicted in most stories. I wanted to create a more realistic dragon, or at least one that looked more like a real animal. I figured the best way to do that was to look at real animals. I took inspiration from crocodiles, lizards, dinosaurs, and of course, Komodo dragons. That being said, I didn't want to look so realistic that I lost what makes a dragon a dragon. I need to retain the core elements of dragons, namely that they are winged, large, fire-breathing predators. No large animals that I'm aware of have more than 4 legs in the real world, especially not reptiles. So I need to get creative with the wings. Instead of separate limbs for wings, I went with a flying squirrel-inspired approach. Just like the squirrel in question, dragons cannot fly in the literal sense. They can only glide, using a thick skin stretched between their front and rear legs. This means a dragon's preferred environment is one with lots of tall, vertical surfaces that they can glide between or off of. Some live in forests made of redwood-sized trees, others on sheer seaside cliffs, and others still in tall stone pillars deep in the mountains. To facilitate easier climbing, dragons have 2 thumbs, each capped with a hooked claw for a very secure grip on the rocks, or bark. A big priority for me was giving my dragons a distinct personality. I wanted them to seem intelligent and devious. They are, after all, probably on the same level as dolphins or even apes in terms of intelligence, maybe even smarter. The faces and expressions of creatures like Komodo dragons didn't seem smart or scary enough, but something like a crocodile seemed too mindlessly dangerous and scary, and not quite as cunning. I ended up settling on birds as my main inspiration, specifically the bearded vulture. There's a very specific creepiness in the way predatory birds stare into your soul that I really wanted to capture with my dragons. Alright, so what about fire breath? Well, in-universe, tales abound of dragons swooping in from the clouds and raining hellfire, scorching fields and man alike. These stories are an exaggeration, but they have some basis in reality. Dragons use Iliaster in a way unique from all other creatures. They are able to discharge boiling liquid Iliaster through their glands in their mouth, almost like spitting snakes or bombardier beetles. This boiling Iliaster is so hot it could eat through skin like acid, but the dragon's unique physiology keeps them from being hurt by the substance. This so-called fire breath is very useful to the highly intelligent predator, but they have to be careful when they use it so their Iliaster smoke doesn't alert their prey. There are typically 3 instances in which a dragon would spray Iliaster. 1, they are trying to scare their prey into a trap, such as a bramble pit or a cliff edge. 2, they are attempting to scare or blind an opponent. Normally this is other dragons or especially formidable prey. 3 would be the rare situation in which a dragon is fleeing from a threat, using their Iliaster as a distraction or a temporary stun. Of course, dragons still get the normal effects of Iliaster as well. Like human burners, dragons burn Iliaster for a boost to physical strength, which is helpful for climbing or defending their territory from other dragons. Iliaster builds much slower in dragons than it does in humans, but it has a higher potential volume. This means Iliaster madness is rare for dragons, who usually use it in small doses. Also means if they do go insane with Iliaster usage, it's normally a lot more destructive. A raging dragon can be an incredibly dangerous force, as they start to kill out of bloodlust instead of survival. In especially dangerous cases, miasmaliers and other knights are sent on a dragon hunt to slay the raging beast. Alright, here's all my concept sketches I did for dragons. This ended up serving as a kind of guide sheet for their basic biology, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Although I will say I think I could make the design a bit more fantastical in the future. Anyway, I'm quite happy with the personality I stumbled into with this design. I imagine dragons to perpetually look like they are stalking and plotting, something emphasized by the musculature of their front arms. In any case, I thought this was a good point to get into the final design. Even subdued, dragons are a massive threat to humans that are in their territory. Luckily, their preferred environments are typically far removed from civilization. Dragons, even in those environments, are relatively rare, kept in check by low fertility rates and a high level of aggression to competitor dragons. As I've mentioned previously, dragons are highly territorial. There are many factors that make dragon-on-dragon combat especially brutal. Namely, Iliaster has a numbing effect, which allows one to keep fighting past when their injuries would have stopped them previously. That, combined with vicious claws and durable hide, means dragon fights are utter bloodbaths. That being said, it's probably a good thing they're so aggressive to one another. It keeps them from teaming up. If dragons were able to work together, they would be a massive threat to humanity. Dragons aren't limited to the green, moderate-sized one you see here either. There are a number of species, including smaller coastal dragons or very gargantuan mountainous breeds. While most reptiles would be limited to warmer environments, dragons' burning capacity lets them survive in even frigid climates due to the heat burning produces. This means the rare dragon species can even be found in Arctic climates. Alright, so here's a final refined design for a forest dragon. I think I'm pretty satisfied with this, especially considering my limited experience with creature design. I want to create all kinds of different monsters for the world of Kiyln, as I think exploring how animals use my magic system is pretty interesting and helps me flesh it out more. Anyway, that's all I have for now. See you next time.